Hi everybody, Mark here from Dingle Cookery School. For this week's baking challenge, we're going to make a beautiful chocolate cake. A cake that everybody should have and should be able to make. This one's especially for you, Mairead. You're doing really well. Keep up the baking. This one you're going to love as well. So now, if we look in here, what I've already just started, I've creamed the butter and the sugar. The sugar I'm using, it's a soft muscovado sugar. It's going to give us lovely sort of honey and caramel flavours and some soft butter in there. I've just mixed that. It's literally just mashing it together just for a few moments. Now, all I'm going to do now is, I've got my eggs and I'm going to just add my eggs in. Try to add them in one at a time while the mixer is going. Okay, so we're just going to add one in, let that mix around just for a second. We're just going to turn it up slightly. We'll get another one in there. There we go. And another one in there. Okay. Now just let that mix nicely like that for a second. We're going to add a little bit of milk in a second, but all I'm going to do first is I'm just going to scrape down the sides slightly, just down there. And look at that, brown sugar is just beautiful, especially that soft one. Now, if you don't have brown sugar and you only have white sugar, you'll still make a nice chocolate cake, but this just adds that little bit to it, okay? So now, I'm going to put that in there again. I'm just going to add in my milk. Okay, we're just going to mix it just for a second. Mix all that guy together. There we go. Okay. Now, what we're going to do now, let's have a look at it, see how it is. We're going to start adding our flour in now. So we'll just have a quick look at that for a second. I might give it another mix. Yeah, there's just a small bit there at the bottom. So we're just going to mix that in just for a second. Now, while that's mixing away, I'm going to just sift my flour and dry ingredients together. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got some plain flour, okay? We're going to add that in there with some baking powder. And as always, the recipe is just underneath. I'm going to add that in and some cocoa powder. Fire that all in there, okay? Now we're going to sift that together. Just like that, sifted. That's going to give it a little bit of air. It's also going to help just mix it that bit as well. Now, try not to put your sieve, try not to wash it. Give it, and if you do wash it, it needs to go into the oven just because it might start to rust on you. Now, we're going to mix that around. All I'm doing here is just making sure that it's all equally mixed. Okay. Now, so where we are now, we've got this mixture. We're going to start folding in our dry ingredients. Now, just take that off so you'll see it. Put this guy over here, and now we're ready to go. Okay, so how we fold again is take a nice mixture, try and do it in 2 or 3 goes. Round the outsides, just like that, and into the center. Remember not to go too fast here, you're not mixing cement, you're just making a cake. Look at this. And this cake is just so delicious. It's definitely an adult's cake. It's nice and rich. So maybe your kids won't like it, but you will. So mix it around, bring it in. You're just just making a batter. Now, we don't have to worry as much as, say, our Swiss roll here last week. Okay? We're not trying to keep as much air in there. The rising will happen from, there's a little bit of baking agent or baking soda in there as well. That'll help. The fact that it's sifted, but you still need to be nice and careful, so not too aggressive as you're doing this. Now you'll start to see at this stage, everything is starting to mix together. Oh, look at that. It's just good chocolate cake. If you're going to bake, one of the things you need to have is just a delicious chocolate cake. Now, also what I did just before I started, a little bit of dark chocolate. I melted that and melt that over a pot of hot water. We're going to get all of that in there as well. I'm just going to give it that little bit more richness. So get all of that beautiful dark chocolate. Try to go for something above 65%. We'll get all of that in there. Okay, just mix that last bit through. Okay, now we're ready to divide this out and pop it into the oven. So, what I've got here is 2 tins, 2 sponge tins. Use whatever you have, but you do need to line them. Give them a little bit of, oil them with a little bit of butter or a little bit of grease. Put a bit of parchment on. That's always going to help you, just so that it will come out in the end. Try to divide these out sort of evenly. You can always take a little bit from one if it doesn't look right. Now I'm just going to, I'll have to tidy these up in a second. Just going to take all that. And the temptation here is to put a spoon in and just eat from the bowl, but don't do that. You need it in the cake. So there we go, look at that. Now I'm just going to switch over to a spatula here. It's going to help me a little bit just from the ends. Just going to try and get every last bit of that. We'll flatten it out in a second. I'll show you a little trick how to flatten it out. Put that down there for a second. Now, get every last bit. You don't want anyone coming in here with a spoon and robbing any of that on you. A little bit in there. Don't worry if one is a little bit less. We can take from one in a second. Now, okay, I'll just get rid of that guy there for a second. Now, I'm just going to take a small bit and divide that out. Scrape off, get rid of all of that there on both of them. Now, and in a second, we're going to be covering, or we're going to be glazing the cake as well. So, I'm just going to pop that guy on there for a second and just heat it up. Now, here, some water, some spoons, a little bit of hot water will just help you just spread that around. And just try, as you dip the water, or dip the spoon in the water, just dry it off slightly. That's it. Nothing fancy, just try and even it out. Same here. The hot spoon just helps to just push it around nice and even. And it looks like that you don't have loads here, but it is going to rise in there. And remember, this cake is a double layer, so you have 2 layers, 1 in each tin. So there we go. Just even that guy out slightly as well. Now, we're going to fire those into our oven. Our oven is set at 180 degrees Celsius. Fan is on. We leave it in there for a second. Now, so what we have here, we're going to make this beautiful glaze. Okay, it's like a little frosting. So we have some water, soft butter, and again, the recipe is just below. And again, some brown sugar. Pop that in there. We're going to stir that around. It's really simple, and this is a lot easier than maybe a ganache. A ganache is cream and chocolate. Okay, just melt all that. Once it's hot enough, we're just going to take it off the heat, and we're going to add in some dark chocolate. Okay. Now that's off the heat, and we're just going to melt that guy. Okay. And we leave it there for a second. Now, you try and get this done a half an hour beforehand. And this is what you're going to have in the end. It's really easy to work with. If you can always, if you have this made from before, we can heat it up very gently again. Now, we're just going to bring out our cakes. This is our cakes that did bake for about, they're in the oven for about 25 minutes. Okay, we'll just put on a timer for the other one. And now we're just going to dress them, okay? One thing you want to always get used to when you're making cakes is that the flat part, the part that was on the tin, becomes the top, and the other one should be the bottom. If there was a large dome there, we might use a small bread knife and just cut it off. Now, what we're going to do here is a nice spoon of that. Just spread that all over like that. Look at that. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Put whatever filling you want in here. If you want a little bit of salted caramel, you just want cream. Now take this guy, pop that on top, push it down a little bit, okay. Now the fun part with this, a lot easier to spread than something like a ganache. So just put that like that. There we go. Get it all in there. Oh, look at that. Now let's just plaster that around like that. Let it run down the sides. We're going to get that, tidy that up in a second. There you go. Move around the... And if this is not cooperating on you, you can always just dip your spoon in hot water, and that will help. Now, so what we need to do now is just go around. We're going to tidy that all up. I'm going to use something like a spatula. There we go. Look at that. And I'm going to tidy the sides just like that. Just pushing the sides all around. Then we're going to leave that chill for a little while. This should be nice and moist as well. So beautiful. What I would do with this maybe later on or tomorrow when we're going to serve it, I would probably, when we're going to serve this, you could shave some more chocolate on there, put some chocolate sprinkles on there, put a little bit of cream on there, but it's beautiful as it is. So I would serve that with a little bit of raspberry sorbet or something, or just a nice bit of cream. So hope you all enjoyed that. That's our chocolate cake recipe, and our recipe should be below. Thank you very much.